Welcome to another lesson of the Focus on Contentful course. I am Marcelo, the Headless Creator. As always, right there, get a hold of me, Marcelo, at headlesscreator.com. Send me any questions, comments, ideas, whatever you want. Send me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Today, I'm going to show you how to work with content types in Contentful, and specifically field default values. Some of you may not know that those are supported now in Contentful, and I will show you how they work, what are the pluses, and what are some of the limitations currently today. But before we get started, for those of you watching live, you know how this works. You got to go get your free account at headlesscreator.com. Once you get your free account, you'll have access to not only this lesson on demand, but you also have access to the entire course. The Focus on Contentful course, which has tons and tons of lessons. You also have tons of access to everything else. Content Modeling Weekly, Discover Headless Tech, a bunch of focus on courses, and just the recently launched Personalization with Nine-Tail Bootcamp. So go check that one out. That one you'll be able to actually get a certification at the end of it. So really cool stuff and much more coming up. All of it free to use. So just get your free account at headlesscreator.com. So having said that, that's all for the marketing. You know how it works. I will not do any more marketing today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the intro here, because for the on-demand version, there is absolutely no more marketing. So I will see you in just 10 seconds. Well, hello, and welcome to another lesson of the Focus on Contentful course. I am Marcelo, the Headless Creator. As always, right there, get a hold of me, Marcelo, at headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, ideas, whatever you have. I'll gladly get back to you as soon as I can. Today, we're talking about content type field default values in Contentful, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is, how to work with them, why it's cool, what are some of the limitations. So why don't we go ahead and just jump in and let's get started. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. There we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and close this up here. And here we go. All right. So here we are in Contentful. Completely brand new space. I don't have any content types on purpose. So what are default values? Instead of me telling you what they are, let me show you. We're going to create a very simple content type. Let's just create a very simple content type, and we're going to call this content type blog article. Just real simple. It's not going to be a big deal. We'll add 3 fields. We'll add a title. We'll add a body, which will be just an RTF. And we're going to add it is featured. I'm going to say add is featured. We're going to say it's a Boolean. Okay, and we're going to configure it as required. And in fact, why don't we just configure title? I might as well do it. Required, and we'll configure the body, because you can't really create a blog article without those things, right? So we have 3 required fields, and we have is featured required. So let's go ahead and create a real simple entry. We'll say my first blog article, and of course my first blog article is going to have a lot of blah blah on it. Now, is required or is featured is a required field. Now we're going to pretend that our marketing department says, look, 90% of the time it's not going to be featured. Okay, so there is that one or 10% of time that it will be featured. So that means that because this field is required, we need to know, is it featured or not? 90% of the time authors are going to have to click on no. Wouldn't it be great if we can set it to default as no? Keep it required, so if people clear it, they still have to answer it. But by default, keep it to no, and then that 10% of the time, they click on yes. That's where default values come in. So let's go ahead and publish this. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go into the content model. Okay, here we go. And we'll go back to, let's make sure here I've got everything set up so I cover everything for you. We'll go back into here, and you're going to find default value under this tab called default value new. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and you can see because it's a Boolean, there's only 2 possible things. We'll say the default value for this is no. We'll click confirm. We'll go ahead and save. Okay, now let's go back to the content. We'll actually, no, not this one. We'll create a new blog article and we'll go my second blog article. Blah, blah, another blah, blah. And you can see that is featured is now set by default to no. That saves authors 90% of the time. It saves them from having to click on that. Now they can go ahead and click clear and see what it requires, so that way they have to enter it. But we'll leave it as no. And that in itself saves authors so much time by having these default values. Okay, we're done with the lesson. Thank you very much. No. There's more. I'm kidding. There's a lot more to cover. So that takes care of Boolean types. So we're going to go ahead and add a new field. So which fields allow default values? So let's go back to the blog article and let's add a field. If it lets me here. Don't you love it during a live all right, Contentful, what's going on? This is taking longer than expected. Yes, it is. So, okay, while that's happening, let's see if we can, I'll go ahead and log out and let's see if we can log back in and see maybe something happened there. Okay, something happened there. No problem. Let's go back to the content model. We'll go to blog article. Something's going on with Contentful. Contentful, can you help me if you're watching? Something's going on with the content model. Anyway, while we're doing that, I'm going to tell you there are 5 types that you can actually set default values to: Boolean, plain text, list, number, and date. Okay, it looks like we're back here. It just wanted me to kill some time here. So if I click on add file or add field, sorry, you can do a text, a number, a date and time, and a Boolean. That's it. All the others do not support default values yet. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that later, why it's important that hopefully Contentful will update that later. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to add a short text now. Because we added a Boolean already, let's add a short text. We'll make it short text, and we're going to call it Salesforce ID. Okay? Now, we're going to make it required. And then we're going to have a default value, but we're going to pretend that all Salesforce IDs have to start with XYZ underscore, like that. So we'll say that default value is XYZ underscore. We're going to go ahead and click on save. And now let's go back to content. Now watch this. If I click on an existing entry and we go to, oh, what happened there? XYZ is not there. Why? I'm doing this on purpose. I knew that was going to happen. Of course I knew that was going to happen. It's because default values are only good for new entries, not for entries that exist already. Okay, they will not be placed because obviously if they exist, then maybe they already put in a value there and the default value won't replace that. So keep that in mind. So now let's go ahead and add another article and you'll see that there is XYZ. Now what happens is I can remove this and it's going to say it's required, but I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we broke the XYZ. So the way to do that, if this is the type you want to do, you can go to your content model. And for some reason, they're running slow today. So if I would have known this, I would have postponed this stream for you. But hey, that's what editing is for later. We'll go into Salesforce ID here. And under validation, we'll do match specific pattern, custom, and we'll do XYZ underscore star. So now when I do that and click on save and go to content, and let's